Dear students, we will discuss today an important and easy topic in water supply and treatment engineering, that is water intake structures. Just consider that there is a water treatment or purification plant and you need to supply the water to the plant from a river. Okay, how are you going to supply the water to the plant? You need a conduit for the transmission of water from the river. You need large pipes for transmission of water from river, right? And if river is at a higher level area and a treatment plant is at a lower level area, you will lay the pipes and make the water from river to flow through it. Then of course water will flow under the gravity. Am I right? Okay. If river is at lower level area and plant is at higher level area, then it is not possible to transmit the water under gravity. What will you do then? You need a suction pump, right? You need pumps to lift the water and make it flow with pressure. Now, where will you place that pump? Where will you fix it? Again, if you are using pump, then you need electricity to operate it, right? Electricity arrangements are also required, and for handling the pumps, controlling the water flow, electricity, you need workers and a small control room for them, right? For all these, you need to construct a structure in which you are going to house water withdrawal conduits, electricity arrangements, pumps, etc. These all arrangements you need to make to transmit water from source to purification plant, right? So ultimately you need a structure which we call it as intake structure. So intake structures are typically the structures installed for withdrawing the water from the source. Water will be available in the source, but in order to convert that water to potable water and supply it to the consumers, the first and foremost thing we need to withdraw the water from the source. For this we use intake structures. So if you look at the definition, water intake structures are systems installed to help in safely withdrawing the water from the source and then to discharge this water into the withdrawal or intake conduit through which it reaches the water treatment plant. And how will you supply the water to treatment plant? There are two approaches, as I told before. Using pumps you can transmit the water, or if it is possible, under the gravity water can be conveyed to the water treatment plant. When water treatment plant is sufficiently at lower level, it does not need to pump the water, or most usually both systems can be used in combination. So now at what point of the sources of water the intake structure has to be installed? From which part of the source the water has to be withdrawn? On what basis you are going to select the location point for intake? To understand all these things, let's look into the factors governing location of intake structures. The location of intake structure should be nearer to the treatment plant. Why so? Very simple reason. The location of intake structure should be nearer to the water treatment plant in order to reduce the cost of conveyance of water. If it is located far away distance, the amount of energy required to transmit the water and costs will also be higher. So to reduce that, it should be nearer to the water treatment plant. The location of intake should be in such a place where there are less impurities present in the source. Our intention should be that we should get purer water from the source. It should be found that at what part of the source the water is purer than other part of the source. So at purer zone we need to install the intake structure. We will take one example here. Just consider that this is a river flowing here and we have a town here. For reference, we have water treatment plant here, so where you can locate intake structure. We have number of options. We can locate it here or here or here, right? But to reduce conveyance cost, we need to locate it nearer to the water treatment plant, right? I would prefer this point as other points are far away from the water treatment plant, right? If water treatment plant was located here, then preferably our intake structure point will be nearer to this somewhere here. If suppose this town has higher elevation at this side and towards this side lower level ground is there, river is also flowing in this direction, then preferably our water treatment plant will be at higher level ground, and according to this our intake structure point will be selected. If this town is releasing or discharging its sewage or drainage water at this point, then our intake should be before this point. I mean, it should be located upstream of this point, because after this point whatever the water is flowing here, it is contaminated or impure due to sewage entering the river here. This is downstream of this point and this is upstream of this point. Okay, in the upstream we may get purer water than this. Intake structure should not be located at downstream of any sewage disposal point. Next, the intake should be selected at a place from where water can be taken during driest season of the year also. The intake should be located at such a point where even in the driest period of the year, enough amount of the water should be available in the source. Otherwise, in the dry season or summer season, we won't get the water and it will be very difficult to withdraw the water. The intake location should have the possibility of future expansion and addition without much increase in cost. The point of location should be such that its expansion, like capacity and all, should be easier, and it should happen without much increase in cost. If required in future, it should permit greater withdrawal of water and should be able to fulfill greater water demands in the future. And it should be safe from floods. The site should remain accessible easily during the floods also, and the flood water should not enter the intake through any other means or any other ways. And it should not be located near the navigation channels such as harbors, etc. Navigation channels means the water channels or waterway channels where the ships can navigate, ships or boats can navigate, right? So intake structure should not be located in such navigation channels. It should not be located at such points where there is lot of human activities. Now there are certain things that we need to importantly consider while designing or choosing intake structure. These points depict how an intake structure should function. The intake should be sufficiently heavy, okay? The structure that we are designing should be sufficiently heavy. Why so? Because when an intake is located in the water, it of course experiences the upthrust of water, or you can say buoyancy. It should not start floating due to this upthrust, and it should not be washed away when heavy water currents are there. It should sustain the buoyancy or upthrust of the water. Next one is, we need to have a good knowledge of all the forces that are going to exert over intake structure. Those should be studied and analyzed carefully, and intake should be designed to counteract and withstand all these forces. The foundation of the intake should be strong and laid sufficiently deeper to avoid overturning of the structure due to heavy water currents. We need to plan and analyze what kind of foundation has to be provided to the intake structure. And as I told before, intake should not be provided in a navigation channel. If it has to be provided there only, if there are no alternative options, then intake has to be protected by number of piles around it. If this is a channel and we are constructing an intake here, then around this number of piles or heavy columns have to be erected, because when ships or streamers move in the channel, the huge forces are created and they will be counteracted by these piles before they act over intake. Next, strainers have to be provided. Screens have to be provided in the form like wire mesh over all the intake inlets to avoid or prevent the entry of large floating matter and fishes and other aquatic living or non-living things. The intake should be of such size and so located that sufficient quantity of water can be obtained from the intake in all circumstances. The intake should be of that size, means of that capacity, and should be located in such a place from where the sufficient quantity of water can be withdrawn in any worst cases also, right? Now we will proceed to the components of an intake structure: intake or inlet conduit and withdrawal conduit. It is the pipe or conduit which is submerged in the water to intake the water for supply to the water treatment plant. For example, if this is a river and on its bank we have intake structure and we have a pipe submerged in water to intake the water and supply it. This pipe or conduit, we call it as intake pipe or inlet pipe, or you can say inlet conduit. Supporting pedestal, it is the support provided for the intake conduit to hold it firmly under the water. This is just bottom support, we can say. Screen or wire mesh, this is the strainer used in intake structure to avoid the entry of large floating objects. Coarse screens are used at the mouth of the intake or inlet pipe, and fine screens are used at the mouth of a suction pipe. Next, jack well or sump well. When the water from the source enters the inlet pipe, it reaches a temporary storage well and from which water is pumped to the water treatment plant. This water well, we call it as jack well or sump well, where water withdrawn from the source will be collected and temporarily stored. Suction pump is the motor pump used to lift the water from the jack well and discharge it into the conduit to transmit the water to water treatment plant. From the suction pump, a suction pipe will be provided and it is suspended inside the jack well in the water. This suction pipe will suck the water with the help of suction pump and discharge it to the water treatment plant. Fine strainer is used at the mouth of the suction pipe, or you can say fine screen. This is used to avoid the entry of finer solids. Inspection gallery or control room, this will usually be provided at the top of the sump well or jack well, which will be having pumps and electricity arrangements. Engineers or workers can utilize control room for their inspection at intake structure or any other for any other repair works. Next, we look into the intake classification for surface water according to the type of the source, or you can say the nature of the source. Intakes can be classified as river intake, canal intake, reservoir intake, lake intake. The river, canal, reservoir or dam, lake, these are the main surface sources from which we withdraw the water in considerable quantities, right? The different kinds of intakes are constructed for different kinds of sources because these sources differ in their quantity of water available, and they differ in their sizes, depth of water, and dirt or silt deposition, etc., right? So therefore, for different sources we have different types of intakes. If the intake structure is constructed to a river, then we call it as river intake. If the intake structure is constructed to a canal, then we call it as a canal intake. If the intake structure is constructed in a reservoir or dam, then we call it as reservoir intake. If the intake structure is constructed in a lake, then we call it as a lake intake. Alright, next, intake structure can also be classified according to position of intake. It means either the intake would be submerged in water or it would be open or exposed to the atmosphere. Submerged intakes remain submerged in water. They will be mostly built in water and a major portion of it will be in the water. If intakes are submerged in water, they are known as submerged intakes. And if they are open to the atmosphere or exposed in the atmosphere, then they are called as exposed intakes. And another classification, that is according to the presence of water in the intake tower. Here the one thing is that the water from the source, once the water is withdrawn from the source, it will enter first the intake structure. In some intakes it will be stored temporarily for some time and then it will be discharged into transmission conduit to transmit it to the water treatment plant. But in some intake, water is not stored temporarily. As the water enters the intake, directly it will be fed to the discharge conduit. If water is present for some time in intake, then we call it as wet intake. Or if water is not stored temporarily and directly transmitted through the discharge conduit, then we call it as dry intake. Next, submerged intake structures. These are widely used intakes for small water supply projects, usually built for streams and lakes where water level does not change much throughout the year. There are two types of submerged intakes most widely used, as simple concrete block intake structure and rock filled timber crib intake structure. In these intakes, the intake pipe or inlet pipe that is submerged in water, it is generally covered by a screen to prevent the entry of debris or any large matter. This intake or inlet pipe is generally kept 2 to 2.5 meter above the bed of the lake to avoid the entry of silt or sediment, and they may not get buried under the sediment. These are simple in construction and working, but the major disadvantage is these are not easily accessible for cleaning and repairing because the major portion of the intake structure is under the water. That's why these cannot be used for large projects. This figure shows a simple concrete block submerged intake structure. Here you can see this is the intake pipe or inlet conduit which is submerged in water. A concrete support is provided to the inlet conduit, that is why the name concrete block submerged intake. And at the mouth of the inlet pipe, a bar screen is provided to avoid the entry of large floating matter. This inlet pipe here it is extended and joined to the water well where water is stored temporarily. This well we call it as sump well or jock well. And you can see a suction pipe here that is submerged in this water to suck it with the help of a pump. Here pump is installed at the top. This water will be lifted through the suction pipe and discharged into a discharge conduit through which it reaches the water treatment plant. The operation of rock-filled timber crib submerged intake is as same as the concrete block intake. Here the only difference is concrete block is not provided to support inlet pipe. Instead of that, a crib is provided. Crib means a confined chamber. A chamber is prepared here. At the top, a small opening is provided to make water enter the inside the chamber. The opening is again provided with a bar screen. As the water enters the chamber, it enters the inlet pipe and this inlet pipe is extended to sump well. All other operations are same as the previous intake that we have seen. Intake towers. As I said before, the intake towers are classified as wet intake and dry intake based on the presence of water inside the intake. These intake towers are generally used for large projects where water is lifted in huge quantities due to large demand, and these are usually constructed to rivers or such sources where water largely varies throughout the year. And generally intake towers are concrete built. These are concrete towers constructed in the water itself. They have a number of openings for entry of water at different heights of the tower. These openings are actually gate controlled. If you close the gate, then water cannot enter the tower, and water enters the intake as long as you keep the gates open. Here is the wet intake tower. Actually, these diagrams are important in exams. Question may be asked to draw the diagrams along with explanation. Well, if you look at this diagram, the intake structure is completely standing in the water, right? In the middle of this tower, there is an inside shaft. Actually, this intake tower is circular. If you see from the top, here it is. This is how it looks from the top. This middle circle indicates this central chamber that we call it as inside shaft. Around this inside vertical shaft, one more chamber is there that we call it as outer shell. This inside shaft is extended downside and continues as the withdrawal conduit or discharge conduit that transmit water to the jock well from here or directly to the water treatment plant. This outer shell has water entry ports that are open always. The entry ports are not gate controlled. If the water is available in the source, then it will be available in the outer shell also, because these openings are open always, and water level in the outer shell will be at same level as of the water level of the source. Here you can see water level inside outer shell and the source are same. Thus the water that enters the outer shell, it will remain temporarily here tower. That is why this intake tower is called as wet intake tower. And we have entry ports to the inside vertical shaft also, but these are gate controlled. As soon as gates are opened, the water will enter the inside shaft and fed to the withdrawal conduit or discharge conduit. In the dry intake tower, there is no such thing like outer shell. Here in the diagram you can see no outer shell. Only inner shaft is present and it has gate controlled openings. So dry intake tower will be dry inside if gates are closed, right? The dry intake will have no water inside the tower if gates are closed. Whereas in wet intake, even if the gates are closed, the water will be there in outer shell at same level as of the source. As you open the gates, water will enter this inside shaft and it will flow through the withdrawal conduit or discharge conduit. This dry intake is also constructed in water itself. At the top, inspection gallery or control room is built. Next, reservoir intake. This reservoir intake is constructed in a dam or reservoir. You know that when the flow in the river is not guaranteed, when there is large variation in water quantities in river throughout the year, a dam is constructed across the river to store the water. Right? In such dams, water will be available with sufficient quantities all the days of the year. So an intake can be constructed that we can call it as reservoir intake. These reservoir intakes are constructed at upstream face of the dam where maximum depth of the water is available. Let's see here. If this is a dam or reservoir and flow of water is in this direction, then this face we call it as upstream face, and this face is downstream face of the dam. Always the depth of the water will be more on the upstream side as huge quantities of water is stored here. The intake structure is constructed on this upstream side only. Here intake pipes or inlet pipes are fixed at different levels or different heights so as to get the water in all variations of water level throughout the year. So at different level intake pipes are installed that you can see here. If water is available at this level, then it can be withdrawn through this first and second inlet pipe. This bottommost inlet will be kept closed because water available at upper side will be more clean, whereas as you go deeper water will be muddy due to silt or sediment. And when water is available at this level, then upper inlets are closed and this inlet will be kept open. Water will be fetched through this inlet. As water enters these inlets, it will enter a common conduit and then water is made to flow to the sluice way through which water will be transmitted to the water treatment plant. Sluice way means any opening that is provided in the dam body for a different purpose. Water is fed through this sluice ways that pass through the body of the dam. This is the case of earthen dam, and here you can see the intake for gravity dam or masonry dam. An intake well is constructed inside the body of the dam. As water enters these inlets, it will be fed to this intake well, and then water is made to flow through the sluice way or spillways to the main discharge conduit that transmit the water to the water treatment plant. The inlets are provided with the valves which may be controlled and operated from the control room as required. As usually, control room is provided at the top of the intake structure. Next, canal intake. If water has to be withdrawn for a small town or any rural area that is not possibly near the major river or lake, then source of the water supply may be an irrigation canal passing nearby the village or town. In case of canals, the intake well is generally located in the bank or slope of the canal because the flow of water in the canal cannot be obstructed. If you construct intake structure in the canal water, it obstructs the flow velocity of canal water, right? So always it is located at the bank or side slope of the canal, and generally it is just a rectangular chamber constructed of masonry or concrete. Here you can see the water enters through the coarse screen provided opening here. Usually this opening is provided at minimum water level of the canal and usually kept 0.15 meter above the bed to avoid the entry of silt or debris. And water is collected in the intake well and a withdrawal conduit is provided here. At the mouth of this withdrawal conduit, fine screen is fixed. This opening of withdrawal conduit is of bell mouth shape with small or fine perforations over it. The water is taken to the jock well or directly to the water treatment plant through this withdrawal pipe. So this is all about canal intake. Next, medium-sized river intake structures. These are generally constructed for withdrawing the water from almost all the rivers. These are of two types: twin well river intake and single well river intake. Twin well type intake are most commonly used river intakes, generally constructed for almost all the rivers at river banks. These are constructed at the river banks. This intake structure consists of three major components: an inlet well, an inlet pipe or intake pipe, and a jock well. Typical details of this intake structure are shown in this diagram. Here you can see there are two wells. One is inlet well and other is jock well, right? There are two wells, that is why the name twin well intake structure. This inlet well is usually in circular cross section, usually located in the river near the bank. It always remains surrounded with water. This is built in masonry or concrete. The pipe is provided here that connects inlet well and jock well. This pipe has a diameter of minimum 45 cm and it is laid at a slope of 1:200. The river water enters this inlet well through this opening or entry port provided here along with coarse screen. Usually this opening is provided below the minimum water level of the river that may occur in dry period, or you can say summer season, so that it can be able to withdraw water even during the dry season, right? As the water enters this intake well, it passes through the fine screen also. Then it flows to the jock well through this intake pipe. The flow velocity in this pipe will be less than 1.2 meter per second. The water can be temporarily stored in jock well and then it can be transmitted to water treatment plant by lifting it with a pump through this suction pipe. Here in the single well type intake, as the name suggests, there is only one well, that is jock well or sump well. No inlet well or intake pipe are there, only jock well. Usually these wells are located in offtake canal. If suppose this is a river flowing here and we have a weir or a dam constructed here to store the water, at upstream side of the weir one diversion canal can be provided for various purposes like irrigation, etc. This can also be called as offtake canal, and this intake can be constructed here in this canal, and opening or ports are provided with bar screens here in the jock well itself. The sediment entering will be less as the clearer water enters the offtake channel. Here you can see a real intake structure constructed to withdraw the water. Here is one more. This looks more likely as dry intake tower, right? At different levels you can see entry ports provided here, and inlet intake well, or you can say inside circular shaft that is surrounded by water. Withdrawal pipe will be here underwater. It will be extended up to water treatment plant. The entry ports are gate controlled, you can see in the image. So we will wind up here, and in the next video we will discuss about aeration of the water. Thank you.